So recently, I just began to wonder that if some people we are given, that is, some people in the scriptures, we are given the privilege and the capacity or the ability or the go ahead, I think that's the best word, the go ahead to pen down certain instructions and discussions that God have with them. I think they will have the larger part of the scriptures. We will not be having 66 books of the Bible. We will probably be having maybe 100 or thereabouts. Just saying. And one of these person is Enoch. The Bible says, and Enoch walked with God, and he was not. Enoch would have written a later part of the Bible, more than Moses. Moses wrote 5 thereabouts, and some parts in Psalms. And Moses wrote Genesis to Deuteronomy, and he also wrote Psalm 90. Solomon also wrote certain parts of the Bible, Proverbs, and all of that. But I believe Enoch, if God had given him a go ahead to write something that he has had, he would have written a lot. I'm sure he would have given us a vivid description. He would have given us descriptions, illustrations, and a very solid pictorial image of certain of the creations that God had made. We understand that the book of Genesis was written by Moses, and we tend to believe that the creation story written by Moses was given to him during this discussion with God in the 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness, in the mountain where he was discussing with God. Yes, we tend to believe that. Now imagine Enoch writing that same illustration, because if you see the book of Genesis chapter number 5 from verse 21 to 24, Bible says, and Enoch begat Methuselah after 65 years. Then after the 65 years, when he has given birth to Methuselah, he walked with God. So the days of Enoch was 365 years. So after he begat Methuselah, he began to walk with God. Now let us see, he spent 300 years to walk with God. Moses just spent 40 years, and 40 days and 40 nights. So he was in the wilderness for 40 years, for 40 years to tend to the flock. And then he was called to go and bring out the Israelites from Egypt. So, assuming or imagine Enoch, who had worked with God for 300 years, was given the privilege or the ability to write Genesis or to write certain parts of the creation. Just imagine. I'm just thinking right now, because you would have gotten a vivid description of the angels, of the cherubs, the seraphs, the things that Ezekiel wrote in Ezekiel chapter 1 and chapter 2 would have looked like child's play, because we will be afraid of the things that Enoch will be describing. Tell me, what are the things that you think Enoch will be telling God? What do you want to tell the Hobadabada, the creator of the heaven and the earth? Do you think that when you are in discussion with God, you will be the one saying most of the things? I think not, because there is nothing you want to tell him that he does not have knowledge of. There is nothing you want to say that he does not know. There is nothing you want to do that he has not seen. He is the massive God. So in the discussion and in the communication of Enoch and God, we believe that God will be the one that will be saying most of the things in their discussion. If you check the book of Job, God was telling Job that, were you there in the beginning of the creation when he was creating the stars? Where were you? He was even mentioning the name of certain stars and certain constellations and certain planets and certain of those things. It's all over the scriptures. The Bible said he was mentioning these things. And Enoch would have had the privilege. Please believe me, I'm not saying that it is of certainty, but I am believing that it's of certainty that Enoch would have had the privilege of hearing these things from God himself. This is interesting. Yeah, just interesting. What do you want to tell God? God will be the one discussing the future. God will be the one discussing the future. Enoch would have had the what's it called? The event, or would have known the event that will occur before Christ. Would have known the event that will occur during Christ. Would have known the event that is occurring in our present generation, and he might have known the event that is going to occur after our generation. But he was not given the privilege or the ability or the go ahead to pen down the things that he has heard from God or he's hearing from God. And even though he was given, I'm certain that God would have told him to seal certain parts of the instructions or of what he has heard for the time that is to be released. You see in the book of Daniel and also in the book of Revelation, written by John the Beloved, where the angel told them that this is not for this time, that a later time it will be revealed to them. So I believe Enoch would have given us a lot, just a lot. The Bible didn't talk much about Enoch, but the Bible mentioned that he walked with God. So for someone to walk with God for 300 years, the Bible says, Genesis chapter 5 verse 21, and Enoch lived 60 and 5 years and begat Methuselah. 22 says, and Enoch walked with God. After he begat Methuselah, 300 years, he begat sons and daughters. So the birthing of the first child, Methuselah, allowed him to enter into a place where he can have a discussion, where he have a knowledge of someone called God. Yeah. And from there, 300 years is spent that time dedicated to God. Imagine the amount of information, the amount of knowledge, the amount of beautiful things, terrible, wondrous things he would have had, and he just went down. No little wonder God just had to take him, because I believe that if he remained, if that man had remained on earth, I strongly believe probably he would have been drawn to pen down these things, he would have been drawn to write them down. Or probably, I'm saying, there were no civilization of writing, learning, putting words, alphabets, Greek alphabets, Hebrew alphabet. You know, the Old Testament was written in Hebrew. Hebrew alphabets together to create a word. So I am believing of the opinion that those things were not. Enoch would have given us a lot. 24. And Enoch walked with God, and it was not, for God took him. This conversation and this is I'm telling you, you should not even be with this mortal man. Come and be with the mortal, and God took him. It was translated. He did not see death. Hebrews 11 said that. He did not see death. It was just translated. He has had so lot. He has received so much from God. And this is a blessing to we Christians, that the more time you spend with God, the lesser you tend to speak, the lesser you tend to say words, because it is only what God says to you that you will see as the verified information or the verified word to say. God will be the one that talks. God talks, like he talks. Hey, God talks. Just be good.